Well, the FBI director, James Comey's 11th hour bombshell has shaken up this race's enthusiasm gap. According to the latest ABC News Washington Post tracking poll that came out today, it shows 45% of Hillary Clinton's supporters are very enthusiastic about their candidate, but that's a whopping 8 percentage points lower than the 53% of Donald Trump's backers. Joining me now to discuss Great American PAC spokesperson Carl Higbie and Democratic strategist Blake Rutherford. Carl, let me start with you. You know, we've always talked about this enthusiasm thing. It was interesting a couple of weeks ago when Hillary started to build a little bit on this, but it feels like she's hit a trap door, and this probably just gets lower from here.
Totally hit a trap door. And anybody who argues with the fact that Trump supporters are more energized than Hillary's, look at the size of the rallies. You go to these Hillary and Kane, I mean, Kane turned out, what, 30 people for a rally? Donald Trump is consistently turning out 10, 20, 30, 40,000 people in rallies 3 times a day. I mean, you can't argue with that.
Blake, you can't argue with that. So how does the camp make this up? I mean, I understand that there will be unenthusiastic people who do vote, but because of the nature of these elections, it's those motivated folks who, at the end of the day, typically choose the next president.
This is all about turnout. That's the question that we have over the course of the next 7 days. Enthusiasm gap really is about turnout, and we have to look at 2 important factors, Charles. The first of which is the early vote that's taken place in 34 states. Hillary Clinton has an overwhelming advantage. The second factor we have to look at is the quality of the ground game. Donald Trump doesn't have one. Hillary Clinton has the most sophisticated ground game that we've ever seen. It's going to get people to the polls. A lot of folks showing up at a rally is one thing. Getting them to vote is an entirely different thing. The Trump campaign's not organized for that. Hillary Clinton is. I
got to tell you that I think if people wait 4 hours in line for Donald Trump, they won't have any problem, Blake, getting to the polls. And by the way, I mean, let's face it. I mean, we talk about the Hillary Clinton, this ground game, this amazing ground game. She's going to need that and a lot more. She's got surrogates who are working harder than her. I'm not sure who's running for president. I expect Obama's name to be on the ballot. I mean, really, this is nuts. If she does win, it's going to be by the smallest of margins, and they're going to carry her over the finish line.
Turnout is critical, Charles, and ground game does matter. It's worth a point. It's worth 2 points. We saw that in 2012. We're going to see it this time around, but it does matter. There's not an election where the candidate with no ground game was effective. Donald Trump doesn't have one. I don't think this race is ultimately going to be close in terms of the Electoral College. It may be close in terms of the national vote. But at the end of the day, it's about who gets the most electoral votes and who gets their people to the polls. Look at these early vote numbers. They're overwhelmingly in favor of Hillary Clinton in battleground states where Donald Trump has to win. And he's just not proving right now that he's going to get there.
She's actually polling a lot early votes and not working for her so far in Florida, which is the prize of all prizes. So I wouldn't pop the champagne just yet. Now, by the way, the same tracking poll shows Donald Trump is riding an amazing wave of enthusiasm. Take a look at this. This is a result of that. Now, people say, well, how does a poll go from +12 for Hillary Clinton to +1 for Donald Trump? I don't think that's the main thing to understand. This poll reflects, Carl, the idea that the way their methodology works is that this is who they say will go and vote. This is not just based on someone saying, yeah, okay, I like this person or that person. This is based on that enthusiasm that we're talking about. This is saying at this very moment, if the elections were held today, Donald Trump would win.
Right, but what you also have to look at, you cannot adequately or accurately poll people who have never voted before, people who live in the boondocks that don't vote historically. And also, he was talking about ground game being worth 1 or 2 points. That's fine. But what is worth over 50 points, over 50% of this electorate, what is worth to them is the fact that Donald Trump is going to go there, drain the swamp.
Do you feel like, Carl, enough of those people registered? Because I watched some of the registration things, and I got the feeling that some people that while Donald Trump had the advantage, particularly in swing states like Florida or Pennsylvania, I thought it could have been even more.
It could have been, but here's the issue. You historically have 50 to 55% of Americans vote, sometimes less than that. That's incredibly low, considering that we're like the most advanced democracy in the world, or republic. But the fact is, we have to get those people out to vote, and the people who are going to come out for Donald Trump have historically never come out before.
I think Tammy Bruce also hit on something, guys, that's really amazing. The early votes for independents is through the roof in some of these key states, and right now independents in almost every poll do tilt toward Donald Trump. Thank you both very much. Coming up, so far at least 22 million early ballots have been cast, and the numbers show